And we're here with Mike, who can answer some questions about the history of Galena and Susanville. So when was Galena founded?
Well, right around 1860.
Now, according to the records, this wasn't always called Galena. It was once called Susanville, but then Susanville moved. So how did that move occur?
Well, that move occurred when the miners came down from Elk Creek and stole the post office and took it up there, and that then became Susanville, 2 miles away. And then Galena had to come up with a new name, or Susanville had to come up with a new name. That's us. Our new name is Galena, after an ore, which is found in this area.
And for those who don't know, Galena is an ore, a rock that's often found with lead or silver.
Right.
So did they strike lead or silver in this area when they found the rock?
They found the rock, I think just lead. They wanted gold though.
Yeah.
It was all about the gold. You know, they didn't care about the other stuff. That was the main thing.
So when did they strike gold here in Galena?
Well, actually, about the time this thing was founded, I would say probably in the 1850s. The town really started developing in 1860 to 1870. Ran up to 1940, where they really went from mining the mines to dredging, which was done by dredging company. They came in here in probably the 1920s to 1940s. So
they ran for about 20 years.
And the gentleman that did that also had been doing it for many years. You know, so this was kind of his last big project that he had. It was mining through here.
So for those who don't know, dredging was also an environmental disaster for the river systems. Now, are they doing any activity to correct the damage, like what they did for the Grand Rock?
Yes, they are. They're actually trying to put it back to where it was, and really trying to, actually they're doing a great job. They're doing it on both sides of the town here, so I think probably in another 20 years, aside from the town site itself, it'll pretty well be back the way it was.
Yeah, and so for those who don't know, the Grand Ronde River up in Starkey was, with the help of the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, was restored. They did a lot of dredging and hydraulic dredging, which I do not believe they didn't do that here where they used the high pressure hose.
They did.
They did do hydraulic.
Yeah, it was hydraulic as well.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of environmental damage. Though amazingly, the middle fork of the John Day is still pretty clear, despite having had that happen.
Actually, yeah. I mean, really, the worst part about it is probably just between, probably a 10-mile span that has really taken the bulk of the damage from the dredging. And so,
which is good that that's being repaired. Now, how many people called Galena home?
Well, at one time in the surrounding closeness of the area, 5,000 people.
Really? Yeah, that's a lot.
And it's known to be that it was one seat away from becoming the county seat. Only one vote away from becoming the county seat in Grant County. So it's hard to believe a town that has no residents full time here would have that kind of status even back then, to have that many people.
So, and John Day is the official county seat now, so they won.
They won by one vote.
So, it also tells you, voting counts.
Yeah. Yeah, that person who stayed home in Galena should have won. Would have got it. Yeah.
Focus, come on, focus.
So mining was the big industry. What were some of the famous mines that were in and around Galena and Susanville?
A lot of them was. Gary, you know a lot of the mines, don't you? That
The Badger mine is the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
But there's lots of mines around.
But there's so many of them around, and Susanville having quite a few up that direction, which is only 2 miles away. And a lot of them didn't really find that gold.
Yeah, right.
So, for Susanville, how many people are there now?
None.
In Susanville, there's not even hardly a building there. There's only a couple structures that are even partly there. There's no residents whatsoever. The last resident that we know that was there, his name was Vito, and he came over here because they told me he had to leave because he was kind of, just settling himself in there too long.
Oh, gotcha.
So anyhow, so he came down here, and we did have a resident here for 45 years, which was across the street from us there. His name was Cody, and he lived here, and this was basically, he ran the town. When you're the only people in town,
Right.
him and his wife, you could run the town.
Yeah.
So, and he did.
Very nice.
So besides mining, what other industries would have been in Galena?
Well, the only thing that really, besides the mining part itself, would be, you're going to have the forestry stuff, and that's going to be the next biggest thing would be, the forest and that
The
logging and all that type of stuff. But those were really the only two things that really occurred here, because that's what drove people here. And now, if you just go down to Bates, down the ways, was a big logging company down there, and that's what they did down there. So they had that, and we had gold.
Yeah.
The biggest gold too that came out of Oregon is also known to come out of this area right here, and so
And I believe that was the Armstrong nugget.
the Armstrong nugget, which is sitting at the U.S. Bank in Baker
Wow.
right now, is still on display, so you can go see that chunk of
Oh,
gold.
we're gonna have to do that one day.
Yeah. Why not necessarily the biggest nugget? It was
No.
the only one to survive.
Survive. But so at this point, it's the biggest
Yeah,
that
that's
survived.
right. That's right.
Yeah. So now, for some of our Pendleton fans, we did visit Whitney, which was another logging town that basically died out after 1947 with the closure of the railroad. What caused Galena to decline?
Well, the biggest thing is the war was probably the biggest thing, and then the mines themselves started drying up more. They weren't finding as much gold, and then between the war, people just started moving away, and pretty soon you just have a handful of people that are just kind of falling back, trying to pick up the little pieces that they can do. But aside from that, if you didn't have the gold here, there wouldn't be any real reason to be here. So.
Yeah, so the town died pretty much.
Pretty well. When the war started, the town died, and I don't think even at that time you could own gold. So it was,
Yeah, and the war that's being referenced was World War II.
two.
Yeah, and World War II was also responsible for the closure of the cornucopia mine, which it is now estimated there's still at least $3 million of gold left behind. But unfortunately, all the tunnels flooded, and now it's just too expensive to reclaim. And also, the Sumner Dredge shut down during World War II.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, its decline came from a volatile gold market. The prices were not stabilized as what they are today. So that had a big effect.
I think we lost our mail service here. I think it was in 43, 44. So that too brought it, when you don't have any mail service, you kind of, that's pretty well the end of it there.
So,
We do get mail here 3 times a week though, in Galena now, in
Yeah.
our mailboxes.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we do.
Nice.
So I noticed that you don't have any railroads through here. So how would they transport the gold to like Baker City where there are railroads?
Well, they used the carts, the buggies, and that, and they actually had a railroad system to help them when they were really doing it heavily up there in Susanville. They had somewhat of a little system, a lot narrower, and not a regular system, but enough to. But between Susanville and Galena, they ran buggies between these two towns, being that we're more on the flatland here. 3 times a week. So most of the supplies in that came actually from here, which was coming from the other areas around here, Prairie City and John Day.
So were they sending the gold to like John Day or to Baker City? where the main railroad hub was?
That's a good question. We'll have to ask somebody that knows.
Yeah. And for our history fans, they would have also used mule trains to transport materials between here and Baker City, or even John Day, which unfortunately is you're about right in the middle between both towns.
Or I think I lean more to Baker, you know, because you have the Columbia Gorge, you can bring a lot more, you know, stuff up on the barges and that, so you get a lot more stuff going.
Yeah, and that railroad does connect up to Portland and then Seattle, which were the main hubs.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that would make more sense. Go to Baker to the main railroad that then goes all the way through.
All the way down.
Yeah, because that's what Sumner was using.
Well, you have the boats and the railroad, so,
Yeah.
and transportation, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're going to John Day, you're gonna have to go over the mountain. That could be a little bit tougher.
Just a little.
You know?
You know, it's easy with a car nowadays, but not so much with horses, mules, wagons, and even using oxen, which you're lucky you got 3 miles a day.
Right.
That's true, that's true.
Yeah. So we've noticed some building going on in Galena. So are you guys trying to bring back what the town at least looked like?
We are trying to bring back part of history that does get lost if everything gets taken off the lane. So cousin Gary over there, we've been trying to restructure, use every piece of stuff that we have available here that's been here, to put back into where it should be. We have plates when they did the gold weighing them. We have those original ones there. We have some of the mining stuff that was originally here. So we do have a lot of the artifacts, as it would be now, of the remnants of what was here. And the church over here, it's been here for many years. We've had to restructure it. The big building's been here close to 150 some years, one of the newest, or the oldest structures in this town. And so everything we do here is to, hopefully people can appreciate the fact that you know, it's part of history that we're trying to hang on to. And though it may not replicate 100% of what it was, it represents what it was at one point. It was a vibrant town that had buildings and stuff like that.
It's kind of like what Shaniko used to be.
Shaniko has come a long ways. I mean, they've tried to do the same thing there. I mean, bring it back from the dead, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and Shaniko was actually an agriculture center, and it was the wool trading center of the world. Whereas here, you had gold, not so much a lot of sheep ranching or cattle ranching like what you would find in Shaniko. So the big differences between the two towns.
yeah, and of course, what hurt Shaniko on the wool, which they, like you said, was the biggest one. It was back when the railroad quit going. And the railroad quits going, your transportation quits going, and that's what, you know, unfortunately, that's what happens, you know.
Yeah, and that was because of the construction of a railroad that went from Bend up to the Columbia Gorge.
They didn't need to go through there. So.
Yeah.
So they're doing what we're trying to do. We're trying to do what they're trying to do. Just hold on to some of the past, and because otherwise, if all this stuff's gone, all you're gonna have is a field, and that.
Yeah.
So people enjoy coming and seeing history.
Yeah.
I have never been here before, and I am very impressed. And I love how it's pretty much, it's still the very rustic, very, and you're telling your history.
We're telling our history. The boards are 100 plus years old on all these buildings, 120 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to keep, you know, just, again, it's all coming down to the fact that if we don't have anything here, the kids that go by, we get people on motorcycles, bicycles. I've had them spend the night here because they get so excited. I had a percolated coffee pot, a glass one. I never seen a couple get so excited in my life. I think they had me make that extra pot just so they could watch it percolate. And that, I mean, I'm thinking, how old am I? No.
I know, yeah. Our favorite coffee pots, percolators.
I know, but the clear one.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were so excited.
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
that's hilarious.
yeah, it really
I love
was.
it. I love it.
So that is actually. So do you actually hope to actually bring more visitors in as the more restoration and building that you do?
Well, let's put it this way. Gary and I have been working on a building, and it wouldn't surprise us if 3 cars are sitting over there thinking that this is the tourist place. And they want to know about what's going on. Oh, what's happening in that? Can we look around and everything? Because they're interested. And that's what drove them in here. Now, if this was a field where you think they're going to drive in, they're not going to drive in.
No, you just
But if they
drive.
see something that has a history thing to it, they're going to be interested.
Oh, definitely.
And so,
Yeah, I mean, which is a great thing. And even though Galena's lost a lot of its buildings, which I imagine was just due to neglect and fire, right? But it's nice to see this being rebuilt, being brought back, because we've run into a lot of people who've been born and raised in Oregon who don't even understand that there was gold mining here in Grant County.
Yeah.
They just think it's Baker in
Well,
southwestern Oregon.
and the whole point too is that the reason you're here is because there's something here.
Right.
If there is nothing here, there's nothing to draw you to it. And we can tell you the story about certain things in here, which is, it's nice to get that story. Our gentleman that we had in here earlier, who's our new gold miner person, I mean, he's so excited about this place too, because that's why he's kind of doing what he's doing. Is that it's like going back in time.
Exactly.
And and that's what we have here. Gary and I have worked on these buildings and just trying to make it as authentic as we can, and it's really working out because people really enjoy it. If I got a dime for every photo shot, I'd be rich. We wouldn't even need the gold.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I really enjoy this, and this was such a pleasant surprise for me. So anybody just kind of driving by and seeing, you see your church here and the jail, and as we're coming up to it, I'm thinking, holy moly, I love it, because you just don't see history like this, and it's wonderful that you're bringing it, forward for all of us to enjoy.
Because what you normally see, unfortunately, is a vacant lot.
Exactly.
yeah.
And the story is there used to be something there. Well, that story isn't here. We got something here.
Yep.
And so that's what it's all about. Because, people who do renovate or whatever, you do it because you want to. It's not a monetary thing. It's a thing of keeping the past. When we're gone, this will still be here. It's built to last. And other people are going to enjoy it the whole way. For lots and lots of time.
Yeah, which is important because people are forgetting their history, and we need to remember it. We should never judge history by today's standards, but we can learn from it. And like with mistakes made with the dredging and hydraulic dredging, that is not really being utilized anymore in the U.S.
No, it's a thing of the past, which
Yeah.
is good because of the environment and what it does to it. But one last thing that I got to say about it, I went to the doctor the other day, and I showed the doctor the jail. I didn't see him for 15 minutes. He took that picture, my thing, and he showed everybody in there that picture of the jail.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Mike, did you see that jail? All the nurses, the other doctors. I didn't see him for 15 minutes. I hate paying by the hour. I'm not showing him no more pictures, until I'm done.
Right.
Yeah. And that's actually the building we're standing on right now,
Right.
is the jail, which Jonathan will take you inside in a little bit and show you around and get to learn more about the inside of the jail. So I do imagine, like with subnets, I imagine you're probably claim jumping and robberies or attempted robberies in Galena.
I would think so. Because it goes hand in hand. Somebody's not looking, and other one's taking it. So you know how that goes. In the old days, I don't know if you know, but like in Alaska, it was all by how long your arms were until they finally come up, because the little guys could not get their arms out there, so they had to come up with a distance and not just an arm distance. So that wasn't the problem here, but just I'm sure that they had their own beefs here. Now we do, in case there's somebody that gets out of control, we do have a jail tree over there.
I saw that.
So we hope we never have to use it.
Right.
But there are some varmints around here, I'm sure, somewhere.
Yeah, because I saw a chipmunk go by
Exactly,
earlier.
and he's guilty of a lot of things, that chipmunk. So.
I love this.
Yeah. So how about Jonathan? You start taking the people inside.